Hello, I'm Sandy Arnett. On this edition of Commuter Connections, we'll take a look at exciting new bus service for our region. Ravens football is back. We'll show you the best way to all this season's action. MTA has electric vehicle charging stations. We'll show you. And a look at a federal, state, and local partnership with the aim of improving transit and the community. All here on this edition of Commuter Connections. Welcome to Commuter Connections. As part of Governor Larry Hogan's plan to improve bus service in our region, MTA soon will launch 2 new bus routes to transport commuters and bridge the gap for travel between Baltimore and Columbia and Baltimore and Aberdeen. These new services will make travel easier for many who commute each day. MTA Deputy Director of Planning and Programming, Danielle Diggs, joins us with more. Welcome to the show, Danielle.
Thank you, Sandy. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Now, we're talking today about reverse commute service.
Yes.
This is a new service that MTA is offering. Tell us a little bit about this whole concept of reverse commute.
Sure. The intent of reverse commute is to provide connections to regional job centers. And so in an effort to ensure high quality transportation throughout MTA's service area, we want to make sure that we look at reverse commuting to various job centers.
Okay. So how does this all fit into the plan, the Baltimore Link plan that Governor Larry Hogan announced back in October of last year?
The Baltimore Link plan, as you know, is a total rebranding, total overhaul of the core transit system. One of the goals of Baltimore Link, in addition to ensuring high quality service and reliability, is to align the network with emerging and existing job centers. So when we look at reverse commute, that totally addresses the goal.
Okay. So just to make sure I'm clear, how did the whole concept of reverse commute come to be?
Well, we've heard from various stakeholders and partners. We've worked particularly with APG, which is Aberdeen Improving Grounds. They did a survey back in 2014, and there was an overwhelming response of we need connections and commuting options to and from Aberdeen. They are looking at hiring a lot of scientists, engineers who actually want to live in a metropolitan area like Baltimore City.
Oh, okay.
And so it's important for us to provide that opportunity. They have over 1,000 employees that live in and around Baltimore City. And so from that feedback, we thought it was important and critical to provide reverse commute.
Okay. Makes a lot of sense, and they do have quite a few people that work there. So tell me a little bit. I understand there are 2 new routes.
Yes.
What are they, and tell me a little bit about
Sure.
where they'll go.
So I'll start with the 320. The 320 is an existing service. It's growing rapidly, so much so that we've added an additional trip, an AM and a PM trip. And the 320 travels from Baltimore through Jessup, Elkridge, all the way to Columbia. And so that'll be implemented soon, September 1st. The next reverse commute we're looking at is the 425, which I mentioned in Aberdeen. That starts in Baltimore, goes through Baltimore County, all the way through Harford County, and ends at the Aberdeen Proving Ground.
Oh, wow, okay. And they're right around the corner. You said September 1st, so that's going to be starting real soon.
Right.
And you all had public hearings recently, right, to talk about
Absolutely.
the new service?
We had 2 public hearings. One was August 19th. That was actually a public hearing on the base at the Aberdeen Proving Ground. The feedback we received was primarily, could we have additional stops?
Okay.
They liked the service, they thought it was way overdue, but they wanted to have additional stops. We had another one at War Memorial on that 22nd of August. Same type of feedback, that we wanted to have more stops, and one of the other questions came up with the last mile, and they wanted to know about the bicycles and the storage space for bicycles, so things of that sort.
Okay. So are you able to bring bikes on commuter buses?
Well, that question came up, and it's based on, because the commuter bus is a private service, it depends on the type of service, the vendor itself.
Okay.
So for example, 425, the Academy will be, has that contract.
Okay.
And so a lot of times they could put it in the luggage space.
Oh, okay.
And depending on how crowded the actual commuter bus is, you can bring the bike on.
Right, because they're like chartered buses, so you
Exactly.
could, like where you would have your luggage,
Right.
put it right underneath. 'Cause
Right.
I know with the MTA, like the city buses,
They
they
the
usually have
bike
them on
rack.
the front.
Right.
Okay.
Right, and not
okay.
all of the vendors, the private companies have that. So.
Okay. So tell me, I know you mentioned Aberdeen Proving Ground. What other businesses or individuals in the area can benefit from commuter bus services, especially reverse commute?
Well, in particular, you have your military, you have your civilian population, as well as contractors. There's a lot of businesses along Route 40, along the area where the commuter bus is traveling. Paul Martin Drive, Beta Boulevard. There's a lot of different opportunities along that strip.
Okay, so tell me quickly, what would be the fares for the new reverse commute service?
So the fares are the same. As you know, commuter bus, they have zones. So the fares will range for a one-way trip, $3 up to $5, depending on where they get off. So for the commuter bus, both the 320 and the 320 and 425, they have what they call zone 1, 2, and 3. So if you get off at zone 1, it may be $3. If you go the entire route to Aberdeen, it'll be $5.
Okay, and with the new service, you have one starting September 1, and that was the 425?
320.
320.
Right.
And then the other one October 1st.
Correct.
And that's the 425.
Yes.
Okay. And if viewers want any additional information on commuter bus service, where can they go?
They can find all this information on www.mtamaryland.gov.
Okay, great.
And they can go straight to the commuter bus page.
Okay, Danielle, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks
That's a
for
lot of
having
good
me.
information, and good luck with the launch of the new service.
Thanks, Sandy.
Last month, federal, state, and local officials gathered in West Baltimore for the awarding of a federal Tiger Grant, which will be used to improve transit stops and communities within the North Avenue corridor, and MTA Commuter Connections was there.
Federal, state, and local officials recently gathered at Coppin State University in Baltimore to celebrate the award of the final piece needed to move the $27 million initiative known as the North Avenue Rising Project forward. The project is part of Governor Larry Hogan's transformative Baltimore Link Transit Improvement Plan.
Today, with our local and federal partners, we can celebrate the beginning of an efficient, effective transportation plan to improve the lives of many residents in this key transit corridor. I can tell you part of our mission at MDOT is to link people to life's opportunities. And this project is going to support that along with the rest of Baltimore Link.
Revitalization along a 5-mile stretch of North Avenue now will include dedicated bus lanes, transit signal priority, bike facilities, enhancements to light rail and metro subway stations, and improvements at major bus stops, sidewalks, streetscaping, and roadway repaving.
The North Avenue Rising will include a number of multimodal investments. There will be improvements to sidewalks, to crosswalks, focused on pedestrian safety, improved lighting, and newly planted trees to line and beautify the streets. Also, investments in key bus stop improvements along North Avenue will provide our MTA customers with more comfortable connections with our transit system. These are just a few of the exciting things that are in store for the North Avenue corridor, and the MTA is excited to be part of all of it. I look forward to working with you to continue to have Baltimore's transit system be safe, efficient, reliable, and provide world-class customer service.
This final consideration comes to Maryland in part by a U.S. Department of Transportation $10 million Tiger Grant to the Maryland Department of Transportation and the Maryland Transit Administration. The grant complements $14.7 million in funds committed by the Maryland Department of Transportation, $1.6 million from the U.S. Department of Transportation's Federal Highway Administration, and $1 million from Baltimore City.
Sitting on the transportation, there were a number of us who made a decision that we wanted the Tiger Grants to also be a part of our transportation bill. We wanted to take it over and move it into that area. And so we did. And that's why we're able to have this $10 million today to do all the things that we're going to do to North Avenue. North Avenue is a very important corridor. And with all of the players coming together, the state, the local, and the feds, and with our private folks coming in, and at the same time with our colleges and universities, we can make this 5-mile stretch a great stretch.
Today's event marks the beginning of a transformation that's long overdue here in Baltimore's North Avenue corridor. Secretary Fox and the rest of us at DOT recognize the real potential that transportation has in shaping communities around the country. by connecting the people who live in these communities to the resources and opportunities they need to thrive and succeed, we have a real chance to make an impact and create developments that are inclusive.
This project and projects like this that invest in transportation in our critical urban areas are the things that will help our communities grow. We say we can't, the congressman says we can't forget about those that need transportation. We can't forget about those that need a hand up in general, and those that need us as leaders to stand up and be innovative and thoughtful about the way that we use our government resources to create better opportunities for those who need them the most, and that's what this represents to me.
North Avenue had already been identified as a key transit corridor in MTA's $135 million revision of the citywide transit network, Baltimore Link. MTA's second busiest bus line, carrying 4 million passengers annually, runs along the North Avenue corridor, which is one of the very few roadways that connect the MTA's Metro subway and light rail transit systems. This corridor for these future improvements is home to several important Baltimore institutions, including Coppin State University and Maryland Institute College of Art. This project, which MTA and Baltimore City have worked closely together on, serves a common goal of revitalizing North Avenue to its full potential.
Coming up next, MTA has a winning game plan for getting you to Ravens football at M&T Bank Stadium. That's just ahead. Stay with us.
A moment in transit. The more than 30-year-old Baltimore Metro subway system was partially shut down between the Mondawmin and Milford Mill stations July 22nd through August 13th to replace and repair major rail components of the aging system's interlocking. The Metro interlocking is a rail component that allows trains to cross over from one track to another. During the period, MTA also utilized the time to perform additional needed rail replacement, track maintenance, and station improvements. During the scheduled 23-day construction period, which was necessary to address this critical maintenance, MTA minimized inconvenience to customers by providing local and express shuttle bus service to transport customers around the affected area. During the partial shutdown, service continued from Owings Mills to Milford Mill, and between Mondawmin and Johns Hopkins stations. Hard work and excellent planning by MTA allowed customers to travel throughout the period with as little inconvenience to travel as possible.
Because these interchanges, as these exchanges had gotten to the end of their useful life, we were having to have some of our trains actually slow down when they were on them. So now that we've made the repairs, it'll help us be more on time because the trains won't have to slow down. They can go the regular speed as they cross over between tracks. We also were able to make some really nice improvements to the stations, to the attendant booths, while those 3 stations were shut down. So our customers will see a faster experience, less bumpy as they cross over, and also enhanced amenities at some of the stations.
The Metro interlocking construction project was even completed a day ahead of schedule, so Metro customers could return a little earlier to their regular normal commutes on the system. The early wrap-up to construction was a very welcome and well-received gift to Metro customers, who now have an enhanced riding experience as a result of these much-needed and essential improvements. A moment in transit.
Ravens football is back. Ravens fans from around the region will be descending on M&T Bank Stadium for all the fun and excitement the season has to offer. But how are they getting there? The director of the MTA Operations Control Center, Tom Drost, recently joined us at M&T Bank Stadium with the winning game plan for transit options. Hi, Tom. Welcome back to Commuter Connections. It's good to have you back on the show.
Thanks, Sandy. Appreciate it. Enjoyed being here.
Thank you. Thank you. So tell me, when is the first regular season home game for the Ravens?
The first regular season home game is Sunday, September 11th.
So you know I have to ask now, how do you think the Ravens are going to do this season? Do you have any predictions?
You know what? I do. I think it's going to be successful, but I want to go ahead and explain why I believe that. Well, here at the MTA, there's 4 goals that we have and we strive for every day. And that's being safe, reliable, efficient, and delivering world-class customer service. So I'm thinking that if the Ravens can safely protect Joe Flacco, if their team members can be reliable on every single play, when they have the ball, if they can be efficient in what they do, they too will deliver world-class customer service to their fans.
Great, I like that analogy. I like that analogy. If they can pull that off, they can have a really great season, huh?
There's no doubt, yes.
So what would you say for those who are going to be coming over and checking out the game this season, what's the best way to get over to M&T Bank Stadium?
I would say the best way would be definitely taking light rail. Light rail brings you right to the Hamburg station. It's very easy to have access to the ramps to and from the stadium. We do run extra trains on the ingress and the egress to go ahead and move those passengers.
Okay.
Also, you can take a bus and you can also take Metro Subway as well as the MARC.
Oh, okay, so you have a number of different options for getting here.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and what's the cost?
The cost, a one-way ride is $1.70. Not much at all.
Bad. That's not bad at all.
Yes.
So how early can people catch transit to come over to the stadium, or if they just even want to get downtown?
Yes, so light rail on Sundays operates between 9:30 a.m. and 10 p.m.
Oh, okay, so they
Yes.
have quite a bit of time. They could
Yes.
be here, kind of watch the game and still stay around for a while and
Without a
hang
doubt.
out all day.
Yes, without a doubt.
Okay, so tell me too, now, I know that you mentioned the fare, $170, so that's not bad. What are some of the other benefits for taking MTA over to the game?
So definitely, I believe, you're able to enjoy the football experience from the time you leave your house until the time you get back. And what I mean by that is that, you don't have to worry about the driving, you don't have to worry about the congestion, you don't have to worry about where you're going to park and those kind of costs. And you can just kind of relax and enjoy your family and friends and getting to and from the game.
Okay, no, that sounds great. That sounds great. And I understand too that the Baltimore Ravens have an operations control center. Tell me a little bit about that center, what goes on there, and how does that assist with MTA transit on those game days?
Sure. They do have a staff member that participates in their OCC here at the Raven Stadium. And what it does, it allows everybody who's working the stadium to provide that world-class customer service to the fans. It allows our staff member to be available, that if there's any request that they need from MTA, MTA is on site and they can respond back home to our OCC to go ahead and honor those requests.
Okay, so I guess a good example will be if it's a night game, for instance, and maybe it goes over, you can communicate if trains will be running, a little longer in the evening to get people back to where they need to go.
Definitely. So that person is the liaison between MTA and the Baltimore Ravens for what needs to be done. And a lot of times it's good to have somebody on site so we could actually see and feel what's happening here at the stadium, and we can relay back that to our control center so we can go ahead and put trains in place or different supervisors in place related to the platforms.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Sounds like it's a good working relationship just to make sure that customers are in and out and there are no problems.
Yes, definitely. It definitely helps things much run smoother and much quicker.
Okay, great. Now, if anyone needs any information on taking MTA to the game, either for the kickoff on Sunday, September 11th, or for any of the Ravens games, where can they go for more information?
Definitely, if they're looking for information related to transit, then I would suggest that they go to the MTA website and follow the different links that'll get them the information that they're looking for, or even if they went to the Baltimore Ravens website, that in turn will have a link that'll redirect them back to the MTA website so they can get any of their transportation information.
Okay, great. Tom, thanks again. I appreciate you joining us on the show.
Well, thank you, and go Ravens.
Go Ravens.
That's right.
Coming up next, MTA is working hard to make the commute a better one for those who have electric vehicles. That's just ahead. MTA is working hard to bring safe, efficient, reliable transit with world-class customer service to public transportation in Maryland. As part of that effort, MTA has installed electric vehicle charging stations at a number of MTA facilities in our region. This is to assist commuters who have electric automobiles. MTA Coordinator Patrick McMahon recently joined me at the Martin State Airport MARC station for a look at these new electric vehicle charging stations. Hi Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now we're here today to talk about electric vehicle charging stations at MTA facilities. Tell me, how did that idea come to be?
It started out in 2011, so that was a little before my time at MTA. But as I understand, the initial projects were funded through the stimulus grant and through sort of other efforts to encourage electric vehicle charging. And we first started out with locations at BWI Airport and the White Marsh Park and Ride. And over the last several years, we've installed a wide variety of electric vehicle charging stations at rail and bus park and ride commuter bus stations throughout the state. And each time we're trying to work to implement generally programs from other state or federal agencies. And for the 11 locations that we've been working on most lately, those were funded by the Maryland Energy Administration through a grant from them.
Now I know we're here at the Martin State Airport MARC station where we have the EV charging technology in place. Where are some of the other transit facilities that we have similar technology, and when did the service begin?
Well, actually there are 11 that were funded through this grant, but there are a total of 20 locations that MTA has installed since 2011, and then there are 2 other stations at Penn Station. Baltimore City has installed electric vehicle charging, and at the Arundel Mills Park and Ride, the local property owner there installed electric vehicle charging there. So there are a total of 22 of our rail and or commuter bus park and ride locations that have electric vehicle charging available.
So tell me a little bit, when someone pulls up and wants to use the EV charging station, how does it work?
If you just pull into a station like here at Martin State, and you look and see whether the parking spaces in front of the electric vehicle charger are available. And there are 2 parking spaces at most of our locations. At West Baltimore MARC, we have 3 spaces available, and at White Marsh and at Penn Station, and not at Penn Station, at BWI, we have 5 spaces available at each of those. And so you'd simply pull into here, you'd tap your ChargePoint card there, and you'll get a ChargePoint card. If you own an electric vehicle, they'll probably give it to you when you purchase the card. And then that will allow you to release this plug, and you can plug that right into your car. And if you're gone for 6 to 8 hours to a regular work day, you should be able to come back to a fully charged vehicle.
How long does it take to actually fully charge a car?
It really varies by the type of car and the type of charger, but in general, we have level 2 chargers, and so they should be able to charge the vast majority of electric vehicles during the course of a regular workday. And so we really are targeting this at people that are working a full workday and using MTA as their primary commute mode. And so they pull in here, they park their car, they charge it during the course of the day, and that should fully be able to charge their vehicle in vast majority of cars.
So when you say level 2, that's for like 8 hours or more?
Yeah, roughly 6 to 8 hours should be able to charge a car.
Okay. So what did it take to install these? Like, what's the cost? How much time, did it take to actually get these up and running?
The charger itself is one of the costs, and so that runs us, I think, $3,000 to $5,000. The bigger cost is in terms of getting the power from the electrical panel over to this location, making sure we have enough electrical capacity at the panel, and bringing the conduit over here. There's a lot of construction management to make sure you're dealing with electricity. You want to be very safe, and so we do a lot of oversight and management to make sure that construction all goes correctly.
Oh, okay. So what's been the public reaction? I mean, what feedback have you heard?
Well, I think overall it's been very good. There's still a very limited number of folks that are using electric vehicles. I think it's less than roughly 1% of all vehicles in Maryland are electric vehicles. And so we're trying to use this as a way to both support the people that have electric vehicles and to encourage people who might not have an electric vehicle to consider it and to see it as an option, and to know that if you're riding transit, you can also use an electric vehicle to get there. And so it's been a very positive response from electric vehicle owners and I think from other folks who've seen that electric vehicles could fit within their regular transportation use.
And it's always nice because you get parking right up front, right?
It really varies by the location. It depends on
okay.
where the power is. And so,
okay.
so here it's very close to the platform. At other locations, Halethorpe, it's a little more distant. We've also tried to make sure that we're trying to limit the extent that we're taking away parking spaces from other users.
Oh, okay. So if someone wants to get more information, where can they go?
There's a couple of different pieces. One is we have a map on the MTA website that has a map that shows where all of the electric vehicle charging locations are at MTA facilities. There's also a nonprofit that has a website called marylandev.org, and that has a lot of information about electric vehicle charging in Maryland.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Well, this is good to hear. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We've come to the end of another Commuter Connections program. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Take care.